The streets of Mogadishu were silent, too silent. Somalia in 1993 was in chaos. Warlords controlled the city, militias fought in every alley, and civilians were caught in the crossfire. The United States had deployed forces to capture key lieutenants of Mohammed Farah Aidid, whose control over Mogadishu had caused famine and terror. On October 3, 1993, Delta Force operators, 1st SFODD, were inserted as the elite Special Forces unit, tasked with high-value target capture and hostage rescue. Delta operated in small surgical teams focused on raiding specific compounds and capturing Aidid's lieutenants. If you respect their courage, comment Delta and Rangers to show your respect. Keep watching to see how Delta Force executed one of the deadliest urban raids in modern history. Delta Force had one objective: capture 2 of Aidid's top lieutenants. Intelligence was precise, the plan meticulous. But in a city where bullets could come from any direction, precision was a luxury few could afford. Delta operators were battle-hardened, hyper-trained, and aware that any mistake could be fatal. They infiltrated compounds, engaged in close-quarters combat, and executed surgical strikes to capture their targets. Among Delta, Sergeant First Class Brad Hall and Master Sergeant Gary Gordon suffered casualties while performing high-risk extractions. This surgical, high-risk focus was Delta's critical role in the raid. Army Rangers, 75th Ranger Regiment, supported the operation by establishing blocking positions around target compounds, securing perimeters, and preventing enemy escape. They brought larger squads and vehicles, including Humvees and trucks, to provide mobility, extraction points, and heavier fire support with automatic and crew-served weapons. When Black Hawks were shot down, Rangers formed defensive perimeters around crash sites, rescued trapped Delta teams, and suppressed waves of hostile militia until reinforcements arrived. Navy SEAL teams provided additional close-quarters building support, assisting Delta during compound assaults and ensuring cleared zones were secure, though they were not part of the primary HVT captures. Narrow streets, congested buildings, and enemy fire everywhere made the mission extremely dangerous. Delta had to move fast, strike decisively, and adapt instantly. Survival and success were inseparable. At dusk, Delta Force moved in. Black Humvees rolled through narrow streets. Operators moved like ghosts, entering the city silently but decisively. Operators breached buildings with surgical precision. Every door could be a trap, every corridor a killing zone. They swept floors, checked rooftops, and covered each other with lethal synchronicity. The city was alive, and every alley held danger. One wrong move, one delayed shot, could trigger chaos. Delta operators didn't hesitate. They were the tip of America's spear in a city teetering on the edge of anarchy. Simultaneously, smaller firefights erupted in nearby neighborhoods. Rangers fought ambushes in adjacent streets while suppressing militia positions, rescuing pinned teammates, and holding intersections under constant small arms fire. Some skirmishes broke out while moving convoys towards safe zones, and other engagements occurred as Delta teams cleared additional streets and alleys beyond the main targets. All these fights overlapped in time with the primary raid, creating a chaotic, intense urban battlefield. Under relentless enemy fire, Delta operators moved with deadly coordination. One operator dragged a wounded comrade across an open street, bullets tearing through the air. Most Delta came out unscathed, their training and teamwork proving decisive. Meanwhile, the Rangers held critical positions, continuing to suppress militia, rescue trapped teammates, and secure escape routes. Navy SEALs aided where possible, clearing rooms and helping cover extractions, but the mission's offensive edge remained with Delta. Delta moved methodically, covering each other, providing suppressive fire and coordinating movements like clockwork. If you're following this story, hit like and subscribe now. This is one of the most intense urban battles you'll ever hear. Inside the target building, Delta moved like a storm. Breach charges shattered the doors, and within seconds, the operators were inside. Stacks of men flowing through the corridors with lethal precision. Gunfire cracked at close range. Militias inside barely had time to raise their weapons before they were cut down. Room by room, floor by floor, Delta cleared the compound with brutal efficiency. Operators pushed deep inside, flashbangs detonating and echoing off the concrete walls, disorienting anyone left standing. The pace was relentless. Every corner was another potential ambush, every shadow a threat. Finally, they found their quarry. Aided's 2 lieutenants, high-value targets codenamed for the mission, were cornered, dragged from hiding, and pinned to the ground. Operators secured them in seconds, zip ties biting into their wrists. There was no negotiation, no delay. These men were the very reason Delta was in Mogadishu. As the detainees were hauled into the open, the streets erupted into chaos. RPGs screamed overhead, and militias swarmed from every alley. U.S. forces were pinned on multiple fronts. Rangers fought desperately around eyed-downed Black Hawks. Delta teams were trapped near crash sites, and every movement risked drawing enemy fire. Survival depended not just on skill, but on coordination. It was the arrival of Pakistani and Malaysian UN armored vehicles that finally tipped the balance, breaking through militia lines and creating a path for extraction. Only then could Delta and Rangers begin moving the wounded, securing the detainees, and exiting the city. Every operator knew their role perfectly. Streets acted as choke points, ambush zones, and enemy kill zones. Delta held the offensive inside the compound. Rangers suppressed militia outside, and UN armor provided the rescue corridor. Operators communicated silently, anticipating moves before they happened. Every decision was life or death. And make no mistake, Delta Force is the elite of the elite. These operators are chosen from the best of the best, trained to strike with surgical precision, and capable of operating where almost no one else can survive. They move like ghosts, think several steps ahead, and adapt instantly to chaos. In Mogadishu, that elite skill was the difference between life and death. When dawn broke, Mogadishu was scarred. Smoke rose from shattered buildings. Streets were eerily silent once more. But Delta Force had survived, and their mission objective had been achieved. IDD's lieutenants were in custody, a crippling blow to Mogadishu's most feared warlord. They moved from rooftop to rooftop, alley to alley, ensuring every teammate, Delta, Rangers, and UN personnel alike, made it to safety. Survival wasn't luck. It was discipline, coordination, and the unyielding will of men trained to operate where most would die. This wasn't just survival, it was proof of why Delta Force exists, to be to the best of the best. Succeed where others cannot, and strike with precision in the most hostile environments. They didn't just survive Mogadishu, they completed their mission with discipline, fury, and unyielding resolve. If you watched until here, like and subscribe, and click on the video above to find out about the time when Delta Force almost failed.